Hey guys, this is a video about depression and anxiety and how to deal with it. Very simply, these have been things that have affected me, my family, and really everyone I know. So I did a little bit of research and put some things together, and I've come up with some ways of how you can deal with it. All backed up by science, a whole lot of research, so hopefully you can get something from this, and I hope you enjoy. So what I wanted to talk about specifically is dealing with depression and anxiety. And specifically within that, I wanted to talk about something called explanatory style. And what that is it's just the tendency you have to explain things in a certain way. So it's the way you explain how bad things happen in your life. If someone breaks up with you or you lose a whole bunch of money, how do you explain why that happened? And what research is showing is depending on how you explain that and what kind of explanatory style you use, it really tends to affect your levels of anxiety, depression, and really the quality of your life. So there are three aspects to explanatory style. So the first one is personal, the second one is permanence, and the third one is pervasiveness. And a really easy way to think about these is the first question you ask, is it me or not me? Does this happen always or sometimes? Or is it everything or not everything? So we can use the example of if someone breaks up with you and you're really upset about it, how would you explain why it happened? And if we were to think about me versus not me, if you were to think it's me, you'd say it's my fault. I'm really bad and this is all my fault, rather than saying maybe it's the other person, maybe they don't have some things that I really click with. So the second bit is always versus not always. And so always would be, this is always going to happen to me, and it's going to happen again and again and again. The same situation is going to repeat itself and people are going to keep on breaking up with me. Versus this is just an isolated event, it just happened once, and it might happen again, but it's probably not going to happen again. And the final one is everything versus not everything. So everything would be, because this person has broken up with me, everything is just screwed now. Other people are going to know about this, and then all the other relationships I have are going to be bad. My social life's going to be bad. My friendships are going to be bad. It's just because of this, it's going to affect every area of my life. Versus it's not everything, which is, it's just this one area of my life. It's just this one relationship. I'll have other ones. It's really not such a big deal. So what you want to do with all of this is you want to ask yourself, how do I tend to explain things? And psychologists have grouped our explanatory styles in two distinct groups. So one would be the optimistic style and the other would be the pessimistic style. And so the optimistic style, if someone was to break up with you and you feel really bad about it, you would say, this is not me, it's just external, it just happens sometimes, and it's not going to affect every area of my life. Whereas if you were pessimistic, you'd say, this is my fault. It's always going to happen to me and it's going to affect every area of my life. So you want to ask yourself, am I leaning more towards the pessimistic style or more of the optimistic style? And you always want to be moving more and more towards the optimistic style. So the optimistic style, they're taking a look at the research, and some of it suggests having this optimistic explanatory style protects you from things like depression and anxiety. And it also makes you less likely to experience suicide ideation. So it's really important that we move more towards this optimistic explanatory style. But how do you actually do that? How do you actually change the way you use your explanatory style if you're stuck in a pessimistic style? I've been looking into this, and there's one way to do it, which comes from Dr. Seligman. And he just says, if something bad has happened to you and you're going through the reasons as to why it happened, ask yourself these 4 questions, or just hold yourself to these 4 criteria. So first is evidence. Say, once again, someone broke up and you think it's all your fault and it's really, really bad and no one's ever going to love you again. Ask for evidence. Is there any evidence that this is true? Maybe you've only been in one relationship and you never tried anything else, so you really don't have any evidence to support the fact that it was your fault or that it's going to happen again and again. And then alternatives is the second one. Number 2 is alternatives. So consider alternative explanations for what happened to you. You know, most people who have this pessimistic style, they just assume, oh, it's all my fault, everything's bad. But what about alternatives? What if the person you chose just didn't really click with you? Maybe that's why it didn't work well. And then about the implications. If you're pessimistic explanatory style, we tend to exaggerate the implications. Like, now this bad thing has happened, everything's going to be bad, and it's going to affect my whole life. Well, maybe you're blowing up the implications a little bit. Like, you have to really look carefully at how is this actually going to affect my life and not get so blown up over it. And the final one is usefulness. These beliefs that you have, really sit down and judge them. Are these useful for me or not useful? And if they're not useful to whatever it is you're doing and whatever it is you're doing in your life, then there's no reason to keep them. And it's as simple as that. You can just drop those things, those beliefs that you don't need. But I know it can be tough. I know it can be pretty tough to change your explanatory style. And at least for me, I was really stuck in a very pessimistic explanatory style for a while. I just thought I was bad, not very cool, not very able to do things in life. I thought it was kind of useless. I thought it would always be like that, and I thought because I was like that, it would affect every area of my life. And it really took a long time of slow, gradual work to change the way I was thinking. So it does take a long time. But that's it. That's explanatory style. That's how it affects you. That's some information about it. Hopefully this helps. Hopefully you get something from it. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you around.